Here at Staunchface, we take our baking seriously. And we're not talking about the penny to banana bread type baking. We're talking American style or original recipe, hard to come by, donut frying, cupcake styling baking. And we have done our research. Try it for yourself, we insist. Open weekdays from 10 a.m. and weekends from 12 p.m. We only close when the shelves have been emptied. We are currently located in Irishtown Athlone and our new Tullamore-based venture is coming soon, so watch this space. We are people-friendly, dog-friendly and COVID-friendly. We are Staunchface.
And now we're going to have a song from a young Offaly band. They're called Church Mice, and they're here to sing their new single. Now, the new single is called I Don't Think So. It's doing very well, this single. It's in the shops at the moment, and there you can have a look at it now. I Don't Think So. And it went into the charts at number 23. So here they are, Church Mice, with their new single, I Don't Think So.
Bottles of wine, someone to be there all of the time, and just say that I am the one, but I don't think so.
Hi everybody, it's Thursday. This is What's the Story with myself, Lloyd Bracken. Hope you're in top form and you had a good week. We're live here from our Little Town Media Studio in Raheen. And I just want to say thank you very much to all the comments last week about the Clara Fire Service podcast. It was nice to put that out there and just show the work the lads do and the training they have to endure. And it's such a good service to have in Clara Town, and long may it last. Also, on a personal note, thank you very much for the comments and feedback on the tribute video I put out for my nephew, John Chucky Dunn, who sadly passed away 3 months ago, and we miss him dearly, and we hope that video brought back some memories and a few little pictures of Chucky in there. And it's a song he loved, Drink a Beer, what John loved doing at times. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much to my great friends I have for helping me get that out there. Last bit from me, please don't forget our Santa podcast on the 17th of December. Please get your kids' notes into me before the 13th of December, where they're from, what they're looking for, and we'll get Santa to read out those messages. Very important, get them in before or on the 13th of December. And you can do that by emailing me at littletownmed@gmail.com or PMing me on the Littletown Media Facebook page. Right, my next guest shot to fame in 2003 after being on a huge run on TV every Sunday night, primetime TV, in 2003 on Eurostar competition, where that competition searched for the next Eurovision contestant. You might remember my next guest battling it out with a certain Mickey Joe Hart for the number one spot, but indeed, since that he has had a lot of number ones and a lot of chart hits and multi-platinum albums and does a lot of work in between for charity and everything, so it's an absolute pleasure to introduce to you a personal friend of mine, Simon Casey. What's the story?
Hi Lloyd, that's some introduction. Thanks very much.
Simon, no pressure now. You're the third Ballycumber person we've had on the podcast.
The third, God.
Okay, so yeah. Are you good as your memory as Catch Buckley was?
Not at all. I have to say, look Lloyd, since you've started this podcast, it's just been unbelievable. I think everybody's enjoyed it, especially during lockdown. You know, it's just something that we kind of look forward to every week. So I'm delighted to be here.
Simon, take me back for starters. Growing up in Boher, indeed, in Ballycumber, What are your memories?
Look, I have great memories of Boher, Ballycumber. Obviously, I'm the second youngest of five, you know, so it was always a busy house. But look, we always had fantastic times, you know, with green fields all around us, bringing home the turf, the hay, you know, getting the donkey every summer to bring home the hay and all the rest. Like, you know, Dad used to rent a bit of land up at the priest. We used to love that every year, you know. So kind of, you know, I kind of feel like, you know, simple times, but they were very simple times, but brilliant times.
I suppose you were small farmers as well. Anytime I went out there was always ducks and hens and everything.
Look, they're still there, you know. So I have a few hens myself now, you know. So no, look, we've always had livestock around the place, like, you know, dogs, cats, any kind of poultry, you know. So my dad's a big poultry fancier, you know.
So Simon, where did Lynn and Teresa meet?
Well, Mum is a Ratton woman, lives she used to live in Killarany in Ratton, and she actually worked in rabbits in Clara for years. Dad came to Ballycumber then in 1964. He ended up in principal in Boher National School.
Where's your dad originally from?
Dad's from Drimna in Dublin, so he's a Dub. Yeah, so he ended up down here. He actually met Mum in Clara. a dance in the Clara GA Hall in 1965, I'd say, and then they got married 2 years later, so it's kind of so the ballroom of romance in Clara, I suppose,
So would your father be shouting for Dublin now in the All Ireland?
Oh yeah, oh God, it's unbelievable. It's what I'd say, if you could just get I might just put a hidden camera now for the next game, because it's just the best thing to listen to. He's so passionate about Dublin, and he hates Kerry. The more you can beat them, the better.
Typical Dub, huh?
But look, he wouldn't hold it against Mayo either now. At this stage. But no, he's a Dub big true and true. Like.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your family, Simon. You're the second youngest. Who else have we got?
Yeah, well, Suzanne is the eldest, and then Leonard, Terence, myself, and then Conrad, and obviously my mum and dad as well. So it's a very, very busy house. But a great house. We all got on great. I have to say, we always had a great relationship together. The whole lot of us. There was never too many arguments,
Okay. Your schooling, Simon, was quite different to most people. Your father was the principal in Bournemouth. Was there any special treatment going on?
I have to say, right, my father is the best man for leaving it all in the school to us. He'd never come home and say, "What happened in that maths exam today?" Like, got him, get in there and learn that Pythagoras theorem or whatever the hell it was.
So he was your dad at home, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
and
but
at school then it was the principal, professional.
Yeah. Absolutely, and a lot of people probably wouldn't, agree with it, but definitely with Dad, it was kind of like you go to school to learn or whatever, you come home and he's your dad, so he definitely left it. He left it in the school without a doubt.
Simon, were you ever sent to the principal's office?
I wasn't actually. I wasn't.
But that would have been a strange one, to be fair. But I suppose you hadn't far to walk to school anyway.
No, like we were only up the road from the school, and again, like at very simple times, you're running up, you'd run home at 12:30 for your lunch every day, and Mum would have the tea and toasted sandwiches ready for you, and back up. You get the last 15 minutes of long lunch, like, and score a few goals or whatever, like, So everything was a rush, but it was great,
Yeah. Was it during your time in primary school that you found your talent, or that you were into drama classes and stuff? Mm-hmm. When did you realise you could sing?
I think the big thing was, like, years ago we used to do the school concerts, obviously, but then we had the Ballycumber School of Drama as well at the time. I started to get kind of lead roles in that. I suppose the very first time that I kind of thought to myself, just something here, was I was only 12 at the time. Radio 3 at the time used to do a talent competition. It was Good Morning Midlands. Mary Fanning used to do it. It was kind of a Midlands talent show to find people under the age of 14. So everybody kind of entered. I entered and I sang a song called Sunny Don't Go Away. I got first prize. That went out live on radio during the grand final. So that was for me. I got a bit of Galway Crystal, and I think a £250 check.
So you won this competition.
I won that competition, and after that, then I started kind of getting lead roles in pieces like in drama, the Les Miserables and the Phantom of the Opera and all the rest. So that was certainly the time when I thought, when I was 12, when I thought I really enjoyed it.
So where was there an influence in your family? For the acting background and singing?
Yeah, well, I suppose Dad, my father, obviously principal of school, but also when he came to Boter first, I think back in 1964, that's when he arrived in Boter. There was no choir at the time, up at the church. So himself and Chrissy Coffey, Lord Rester, they put a little choir together, the two of them, and Dad did a lot of the lead vocal, and I didn't find out about that until much later on. Like, my mum, probably wouldn't have much of a note in her head, but seemingly her dad was a very good singer. So look, there was I suppose you're kind of getting it from both sides there.
Of course, and that rubbed off on Terence then as well.
Terence as well, and and Suzanne as well. Like, Suzanne was in they won an All Ireland ballad group. So. Got to a couple of All Irelands in the ballad group. Sorry. So definitely it was a big influence on us. My parents had a huge influence on us from a music point of view.
I remember back many years ago in Ballycumber in the hall in GA, Tops of the Town, I believe it was. Myself and my mother was out there. We were huge fans of Tops of the Town. And this little lad come on with a dicky bow and a white shirt, and he sang Les Miserables, Bring Him Home. Mm-hmm. And that just absolutely brought the house down. Do you remember that night?
I do. Yeah, like that for me it's just an amazing song. I still sing it now and again at concerts, but I'd never heard of Colin Wilkinson or any of these. I didn't know much about musicals at the time, because I was only a gossip, but when I heard that song, it just, Jesus, what a song. Like, it was just, when I got the lead role to sing it then, I sang it at a couple of different competitions up and down as well then after that.
Yeah, no, I remember that night, and I didn't know you that well, if I even knew you at all back then. And I just said to myself, like, geez, this guy's going to go far, you know.
Yeah, well, that was
standing ovation. And
and that was before I came into Art School Kieran. Obviously, we ended up in a couple of same classes together after that. But no, look, you just mentioned John Clare Tops there, and heard a couple of your guests how positive it was for everybody, you know, for the people of Clare, but also for people of Ballycumber. Like, we had a great little Tops set up there for many years, you know, and really the best of times. What an introduction into showbiz.
For a small village like Ballycumber, the top standard then was massive. Then I remember Clara was worried about Ballycumber a couple of times. You know, the standard was brilliant.
It was excellent. You know, there was pure professionalism, and you know, I suppose we used to kind of have a lot of the younger kids used to be involved in it as well, like, you know, and I was one of them kids at the time, like, you know, and I think a couple of the judges didn't really like. I remember Biddy White Lennon, actually, she had a big problem with kids being on the stage at that time of the night, like, you know. So these are, you know, it's amazing. But I thought for me, like, it was a fantastic kind of apprenticeship, you know, into music.
We spoke briefly there about Terence. Let's hear a little bit from Terence.
We grew up in Ballycumber. There was 5 kids in the family. Simon was the second youngest. And what I remember most about Simon as a young lad, he was always outside kicking a ball. Himself and Conrad, always talking about football, always running up and down. He was a really sporty kid. So when he started playing GA, he was a very good footballer, very skillful young lad. Simon and Conrad were big, soccer supporters. And when they were little, probably, Simon was maybe 9 years old, 10 years old, himself and Conrad got this idea where they would write to all these footballers in England in the old Championship, which would have been, well, the Premiership now, send a letter looking for a signed photograph. And Simon was a huge Villa fan, everyone knew that. His plan anyway was that he'd write a letter, and in the letter he'd say, "Dear so-and-so, I'm a huge fan of yours and of Aston Villa." And then he'd say, "This is my 3rd time of writing and you still haven't replied to my request for a signed photograph." One time this letter came in the door and it was from Mark Bright. And Mark Bright played with Crystal Palace in the kind of late 80s, early 90s. In the letter he said, "Dear Simon, I receive all of my fan mail and I find it very unbelievable that you would have written 3 times and I wouldn't have received it." So he kind of called Simon out on his scam, and then at the end he signed Mark Bright. I think his love for Villa came from the likes of like Paul McGrath and, you know, the boys that played on the Irish Republic team. Growing up music-wise, Simon was always singing. When our aunts would come over from England, we'd be kind of brought out in front of them near the end of the night, you know, and we'd all have to sing a song for them, and there was never a bother in Simon. He was always prepared. And then he was in Scoring an Ogue as a kid, did very well in that, and he won a competition for the Lions Club. That was his first kind of big competition, big singing competitions. I think he sang Sonny. And I know himself and my mother, like, you know, she was so proud. My mother was so proud of him that always Simon was kind of, you know, I do a little bit of music too, and Simon has always been there for me. Kind of always kind of helped me out, you know, kind of got me up and running with my 2-piece. And even now, you know, Simon, he's still there helping and supporting. So he's a great lad. So I just want to wish him all the very, very best with his new album, and just the best with everything, because he's an all-around good guy.
Oh, Simon, that's your brother Terence.
Thanks, Terence.
Jeez, I wish my brothers had talked that nice for me. So Simon Casey, the football stalker.
The football stalker, yeah. But that was a big thing at the time, like, you know, because I would have heard years ago that actually started with Leonard, my older brother. He started writing off the likes of Frank Stapleton and all these, Gary Bailey and all these kind of Man United lads back in the 80s, and used to get autographs back, and I just, you know, I loved the thought of it. Like, in fairness, I nearly always I've loads, like, I've hundreds and hundreds of them at home there, you know, so it'll be worth money someday, you know. That Mark Bright, no, that was a good one.
Never forget Mark Bright.
Oh God.
You're an Aston Villa fan.
Oh, massive.
Where did that come from?
I think it came from, I definitely think it came from my Uncle George. My Uncle George would be, he ended up a principal in Ballinhown, over there in Castle Daly. Yeah, so he was a huge Villa fan, and I think that was kind of rubbed off me, you know. So ever since, and you know, as Terence said there, it was kind of when Paul McGrath, Steve Staunton, Ray Houghton, Townsend, they're all kind of all on the Irish team and all on the Villa team at the same time, you know. So that's when I really stuck into it.
Actually, let's hear a little bit from one of them Aston Villa guys.
Hi Simon, Paul McGrath here. I just listened to your new album and enjoyed it an awful lot. Aren't you very lucky, I was thinking, to be an Aston Villa supporter and a great musician? So listen, I just wanted to let you know that I really did enjoy the album, and best of luck to you with getting that off and up and running. And take care of yourself. So mind yourself, pal. and hopefully I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
That's the great Paul McGrath.
Man, how do you do it? How do you do it? God almighty.
Would he be one of your biggest idols?
Look, he is for me. You know, we call him as Villa fans, we call him God, and I know there's many Irish fans would call him the same. Like, but what an absolute legend. You know, that's you know, I'm very emotional even listening to that now because he really he's everything to me. You know, as a footballer. You know, he's what a legend. And geez, Lloyd, that's just some coup now.
Yeah, we've only the big guest here
very
in
much.
Raheen, you know what I mean? So we get to your music prowess in a minute, but I suppose from national school you moved into Clara. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
Actually, a funny one, Lloyd. When I started in Clara, I actually started 2 weeks after everyone else. Because I actually ended up in the Mercy College in Moat for a week and a half.
Right. This is gossip now.
I kind of had, you know, the whole summer I was there, I'm going to Moat. No, I'm going to Clara. No, I'm going to Clara. I want to play football. I knew the Clara lads were good footballers. And, you know, Moat at the time, let's face it, like there was nothing going on in Westmeath at the time from a football point of view much. And I knew we had a huge, you know, and obviously you had the likes of good friends, Vinnie Minnock and Stevie Quinn, Brendan Larkin, they're all really good footballers. And I kind of, you know, that was the big swear for me, you know. So I kind of, we did a week. I think I did a week in the Mercy College in Moat and transferred over to Clara. And everyone, you know, a week later, here I was, you know. So,
so you did well though in GEA circles in our school, Kieran, didn't you?
Oh, we did. No, look, I said I was very, very lucky because we had such a crop of players. Like, and you know, all them lads.
Mention someone who were there.
Scott Brady, Darren Kelly, Kieran O'Mara, Wesley Coyne, all these fantastic footballers, you know. And you know, we ended up then we won a Leinster vocational school with the team. You know, I was very, very lucky the whole way up that I had great players around me. And you know, it was always nice because at the time we were doing very well in Ballycumber as well. Like, you know, in the minor, I remember coming in the first week after winning one of the minors, and Dominic Einan met me in the corridor and said, you know what, we have a good team this year. You know, Clara were after winning the minor A, and Ballycumber were after winning the minor B. So I ended up, I suppose myself, Vinnie Minnock and Stevie Quinn were the full forward line on the vocational school team, and surrounded by Claras and Brendan Larkin as well, you know. So it was a great kind of amalgamation of both clubs, like, you know.
So you settled in very quickly into school in Clara then?
I did, like, you know, like I you know, obviously Terence was after been in there and Leonard was after been in there, and you know, the best of times, the best of friends from Clara as well, you know. So it's very, very easy to settle in with all the Ballycumber guys there as well, because like at the time there was a 52-seater bus going in every morning, you know, so it was a huge contingent of Ballycumber there.
I suppose you found your musical, an extra bit of music career in Clara then. Can you tell us about that?
I did indeed, Lloyd. Look, it all ended up that, like, I knew there's a couple of young lads in much lower classes that were kind of good entertainers. I heard of it, like a young lad called Joe Egan and Ronan Kenny and Ian Redmond. They were playing a bit of music, and the idea came up then for to put a school concert together. Of course, I was after doing a bit in the tops, like the Les Mis and whatever, and you were kind of, I knew Lloyd, I knew you were gigging. You were gigging away for years. And I think it was in fifth year. We got asked to sing a song at the school concert, the end of year school concert. I know Noreen Rabbit was to sing the core song. Runaway, was it? Runaway, yeah. And it was just, that was unbelievable.
No doubt, I think.
No doubt.
Speak.
Yeah. And we were kind of said, look, let's do something, let's do like the Commitments. Let's do Mustang Sally. And it was unbelievable. Like we went out that day. First of all, I always remember getting out of a double geography class with you from Miss O'Connell. She was raging. And the two of us high-fiving down the corridor, heading down for rehearsal. And that was great. But look, the night we played in the Star that night, something happened. You know, I got a buzz. You get a buzz in John Player Tops. You get a buzz doing score and this, that and the other. But the buzz of playing with a live band that night, and the whole Star just singing back, right, Sally, right. Ah, Jesus, lads. It was just one of the best. It was just one of the best moments. And it was kind of, that was the moment for me that I said, like, I got goosebumps. I just said to myself, this is where it's at, lads, you know.
So you got an extra hunger for it, do you think?
Oh yeah. And like, you know, for weeks after, like, you'd be walking around the school and everyone, right, Sally, right, you know. It's like, it was unbelievable. No matter where you went, it was right, Sally, right, it was going after you. And so we said, look, we actually got that was, I suppose, the start of Sorted Youth then, you know. We kind of said, let's go. Like, we all came back the following year and we put the band together, you know, with Joe and Ron and Ian and yourself and myself, you know. So
of course there was plenty of gigs then, wasn't there? And down in the Dolphin.
There
and
was.
Dr. Cupperges.
Look, Lloyd, we had the best of times, like, you know, back in them days. Like we were doing our leaving cert, like, you know, and we were here gigging every weekend, everything, and like
Maybe that's what happened to me.
yeah, exactly. But I always remember going out to the Dolphin on Paddy's Day, and the place was black with people. It was black with people, and I remember going up and started our set at about 2:00 in the day, and she went down a bomb. Went down an absolute bomb, and again it was just incredible. Roll on 6 hours later, I think we were after playing the same set 3 times. And I'd like to Sean Kennedy, it's coming up for Sordid Youth. Look, unbelievable. We could still be there nearly. You know, I think we played a set 3 times that day, and the place was just absolutely rocking. What a great time, like, you know.
Do you think you could have asked for a better apprenticeship in the music business?
Absolutely not. Like, as you said there, we used to play cuppages there in Moat, and I suppose leading on to our apprenticeship, that's where our good friend Liam McClaffey probably, you know, he would have got word, because we ended up playing a lot of the grad masses and all the rest. I remember playing a great grad mass afters in Cuppages. The place was jammed and the crack was just unnatural. Lee McClaffey up the road heard about what was going on down the road. And we got a call from him to see would he be interested in maybe developing Sordid Youth and bringing it on a step further, I suppose, you know. So
we had to change the name. We were getting too old for Sordid Youth.
Yeah, we were getting too old for Sordid Youth, and like, it was too hard to say anyway, you know. So I
back to Sordid Youth for a second, because one of the gigs that stands out for me, now I know this is your podcast, but one of the gigs that stand out for me was we organised the Star downtown. Yeah. Okay, we were in school and we made tickets. I think Michelle Kenny made tickets for us and everything. I remember the 5 of us looking through the keyhole at the door at the end of the hall, nervous. Was there anybody going to come?
Yeah.
You know, are we going to make a fool of ourselves? But it ended up a great night. But that was one thing that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, and again, like, it's just gas, like, because you're putting this show on yourself, like, you know, and you've it all to lose, like. You've it all to lose. But no, look.
To rent the Star.
To rent the Star, like, that's big money, you know. But no, look, it was absolutely, looking out the keyhole to see how many people were coming in. It ended up being a great night, you know, and just showed that we were capable of doing things if we bothered, you know, so.
So you're saying, Church Mice came about then from that?
Yeah, like it was Willie, you know, actually Leamy would be great friends with Willie Carty, who'd be, you know, Mike Denver's manager and the Conqueror's manager and all the rest. And I remember meeting Willie and Leamy over in the Old Shebeen over a couple of bottles of Heineken. And Willie said, look, lads, great band, great this, great that. The name, you have to change the name. And I said, what about Church Mice? Me and you looked at each other. Then we looked at Leamy, and then I looked at you again, and I was like, Church Mice. I said, well, something about it. I kind of said straight away. I said, yeah, definitely, because it's a name that you're never going to forget, and if we've a product to back this up, we've a good chance here, you know. So,
of course,
so that's kind of weird.
In Clara, then fairly quickly we were known as the Chapel Rats.
The Chapel Rats or the Rug Rats or whatever.
But going back to the apprenticeship, then obviously, but like. Church Mice was very successful in its own right for young lads. A lot of TV shows, stuff like we might never even get now.
No, you wouldn't get it, Lloyd. See, that's the thing. Back then, like, you were guaranteed if you were in the top 30. And what we did was we brought out the Steve Harley Cockney Rebel song, "Come Up and See Me, Make Me Smile," and God Almighty, it just took off for us. You know, the local radio got on board. I remember going up to 2FM with you and Lee McClaffey, and I met, God be good to him, I met Larry Gogan in the canteen, and Liam said, "Go on, let's bring up that single. Yourself and yourself up to the legend that is Larry Gogan. We handed him the EP, and he picked it up, and he started laughing. He said, "Church Mice, what a name!" We were driving out. 15-20 minutes later, here's a new song from a new band from the Midlands, and that's what Larry Gogan is.
Yeah. And Larry wouldn't not even have heard that song.
Never heard it. Never knew anything about us. But that was the thing about Larry Gogan. He always gave you a chance, and he was always very, very good to me. Even after, you know, after the Eurostar days, up until his death, he was very, very good to me. You know. So,
well, have a little listen to this. This is a little piece from the Den TV with Dustin. I don't think we got a word in edgeways in this. And then after that, then we did Up for the Match.
That's right.
Offaly and Kilkenny in the All Ireland final, and we were one of the first bands to give something to everybody in the audience. Have a little listen.
Yes, we got got some mice in the house. Hold on, Socky, the boys are in. They're here. The boys are in. Is there a wedding or something on, lads? What's the story?
The church mice are...
I heard your song on the radio. It's cool.
Come on and see me. Make me
You
smile.
made it all. You've taken every call.
That's pretty good. That's not bad, is it?
I will return someday. Boy, how I miss you. Wish you had sent it. Silent need of peaceful cross that calls for sons from far and near. Silent need of peaceful cross that calls for sons from far and near. Move on now. Move on now.
Well, that was pretty stirring stuff. That was the Offaly Rover as performed by Church Mice. And they were mobbed when they appeared down at the Festival of Kerry. And it's not surprising. I will be keeping an eye on you lads when you're going out tonight. I won't let any of these women from the audience. You're in safe hands here, I can tell you. Those are the Church Mice, and that was the Offaly Rover. Now, never let it be said that you go away from this programme empty-handed, because the guys in the band have very kindly given us one of their Church Mice T-shirts. There you can see it is. And the good news is that there is one for everybody in the audience. That's right.
Simon, did anybody ever get the T-shirts that night?
We brought up a box of them. No, we did.
And they gave away CDs as well there. We didn't hear that.
Yeah, exactly. I thought look, that version of the Offaly Rover, that was special as well, because it was the first time it kind of had been rocked up, and I thought it was great.
I remember God Be Good to him. Sylvester, Brother Sylvester was in the front of that audience that night. And I think he wrote a little piece in the paper the following week that he wasn't too happy about the rocked up version of Offaly Rover.
I think he wanted more of a ballad group involved, but what about, we were kind of, we were raw and we were young and we were kind of where it was at the time, and it was just nice to do something a little bit different as well, but what you wouldn't do to go back and do something like that again, Yeah,
last little memory on Church Mice was for me, was myself and yourself went to Dublin one night. We drove up to Alan Corcoran. It was Ireland's Rising Stars on RT Radio 1, which was a huge programme to do. And I remember we did the interview on it was pre-recorded. So myself and yourself, I stopped off for a bag of chips and a pack or something. We stopped thinking begging to listen to it because it was on late at night, 11 o'clock or something. So these two lads come on, yourself, Ballycumber, myself from Clara, and we had two Dublin accents.
You know what? I have to say, right, one thing about Liam Claffey as a manager, that man put us everywhere. He was a step above everyone at the time. He had all the tricks. And I have to say, very, very grateful to Liam, because he put us in all these situations, that no other young band at the time was getting them kind of opportunities, so it was fantastic.
Yeah. Simon, I think it was New Year's Eve, 98 or 99, you decided to up sticks and further yourself a bit. Was that a tough decision at the time to leave Church Mice?
It was, but I think at the time we'd all kind of said, we can kind of, we went around in circles for a couple of years and we kind of did what we did, we got a couple of the top 30 hits and whatever and TV and all the rest, but at the end of the day, I suppose for us to develop, you sometimes need to kind of move on, and at the time, Lloyd, I was getting an awful lot of offers from different, if the amount of offers I got over the years to do things that never happened. But that is the music business. I remember heading off to Sweden to record 6 tracks, because I was going to be in this boy band, and this, that, and the other, and all the rest. But unreal, we went over there, recorded 5 or 6 songs that would be their number one hits, but just never saw the light of day, But they're the things that happen in the music business, the amount of setbacks you get, it's incredible, So. But yeah, look, I think from a Church Mice point of view, it was kind of it was probably time for everyone just to move on and see what we could do, because there's only a certain amount of the clubs scene that you can do and the college scene and all the rest.
Moving on, Simon, a lot of people might know that you did other talent shows as well before you were a star.
I did indeed, yeah. Well, it was back. I suppose the thing about from moving from Church Mice to other things, reality TV show was beginning to happen, and I remember Louis Walsh, not name dropping now, but Louis gave me a buzz to see would I go into audition for Pop Stars, which was back in 2001, 2002. I said, look, I was kind of like, I'm not, I don't want to be in a boy band or a boy girl band, these kind of steps and all the rest, because I haven't a step in me. 2 left feet, that's what I have. When he said, no, look, we're looking for good singers, we're looking for strong singers, and we need, the show has to be kind of successful or whatever. So look, I put myself forward for it. I remember Una Healy was actually on that as well, and Brian Ormond. I ended up, doing pretty well. I think it got down to the last 15 or that, but it was all pre-recorded in Portumna. And we had to sign secrecy agreements and all the rest, and the band was going to be announced after Christmas. I remember me, down in Flynn's Christmas Eve. So, did you get into the band? Did you? Did you get into the band? And I was there, I was out weeks at this stage, but I wasn't able to tell anyone, So, but that was kind of what happened. And then as the same production company, Shane and Will, the following year came along with Eurostar, and again I wasn't going to go in for that, and I said, no, I'm not putting myself through that again, because it was, Pop Stars kind of knocked my confidence a bit, because they were looking for a certain thing, and it was all about the judges, really, you know what I mean? So
why did you decide then, 2003, to take another leap into Eurostar?
Yeah, well, again, it was probably Ronan Johnson, to be honest. Ronan was the musical director for Eurostar, and he rang me and said, look, this is different. This is all about the voice. This is all about, we're going to see how it goes. We haven't been successful in Eurovision for years. We're just going to try and launch this and see what happens. And I remember Denise as well, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, saying, look, just go for this. This is you. This is more you, because this is going to be all about the voice. And I went for it. I remember my very first audition was on Stephen's night. But, it was going live on TV. And I remember getting through the Dublin stage and coming back into Gavin's that night and been lifted on shoulders. And that's when it started. Stephen's night, that's when it started. And it was just a absolute incredible roller coaster for the next 20 weeks.
You described it yourself as an All-Ireland final every Sunday night.
It was and if I was to be, if I was to be here for 2 years, I still couldn't thank the amount of people that got involved that time. It took the Midlands by storm. It took Offaly by storm. It started at Ballycumber and just spread its wings to Clara and Tullamore and Offaly. The whole of Offaly was behind, then the whole Midlands, and it was an incredible time. It was an incredible time, and every Sunday you'd go up there, and it's just busloads and busloads coming up from the Midlands, from Clara and Ballycumber. And
so take us through it then. Who chose the songs every week, and you had a week to learn them and all this sort of stuff?
Yeah. Well, it was a kind of a funny process because you got through on the Sunday night. And then you had to start thinking straight away. You had a meeting the next morning to pick the songs for the following week, and you'd be given a kind of, well, it's going to be Love next week, or it's going to be Americana week next week, or it's going to be this. And I always kind of had a couple of songs that I really wanted to sing. And obviously we'd meet one of the judges at the time was Phil Coulter, and Phil, we'd meet him on the Monday morning. He'd come in with the piano, and you'd go through songs with him, and he'd give you his honest opinion if he thought that this was a runner or not, so it was great. And then, like I said, you got the outline of the song. You were back home then on the Monday night, and back then up to Dublin, I think on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and back again. So it was kind of, you're getting around to schools and all the rest, and trying to meet, shake a few babies, and not shake them, shake their hands.
What was it like on a Monday morning, right? Most of us were getting up to go to work, and you were going to meet Phil Coulter. What was that like?
That was great. I was very, very lucky to have the judges that were involved that year. Obviously, Louis Walsh was the kingpin of managers, international manager. But my big guy, the big guy that I had most respect for there was Phil Coulter, because Phil had obviously written songs there for Luke and Sinead O'Connor, and, the best of songs, Bay City Rollers. And what a legend, what an absolute legend to be kind of working with. Yeah. I think the highlight for me throughout the whole thing was when I sang Scorn Out of Simplicity, because I remember going into on the Monday morning, and it was Irish week the following week, Irish Ballad week, and I kind of said to Phil, look, Phil, I'd love to sing Scorn Out of Simplicity, and he was kind of blown away, and he said, right, well, he started the intro, and I sang it, and
Goosebumps stuff.
Goosebumps, absolutely. Yeah.
Who wrote this song about his son?
Yeah, wrote a song about his son. I knew it was a very personal song to him. And I remember at the end of it, he just turned around to me, got up and just hugged me. And I was shaking. So and I said to myself, just, something happened that day as well. That was a very special moment for me, so. And obviously, after that, Phil, kept me in his thoughts. Like, obviously, after Eurostar, then Ireland's Call came about, and Phil was after writing that song, and he asked me would I sing on it, so with the Irish rugby team. So it was nice, it was lovely.
Yeah, so there's a bit of longevity there. He remembered you when he wanted you to. Ireland's Call was another massive.
It was,
song.
and it still is. Like it's amazing. Like anytime, like even last week there when Ireland are playing, like you can see the Spotify, like it just goes crazy, or it comes back into the charts and stuff like that. So look, it's been very, very good to me.
Of course, that was the judges, but you did mention briefly the massive support from Ballycumber and Clara. I mean, the homecoming, or one of the times you come home, there was security guards. I remember John Cusack was there.
John. Look again, like John
thousands
Cusack.
of people in Ballycumber. What was that? That must have been
thousands. Like it's hard. And I was just looking through pictures there last couple of months, and just seeing the thousands of people in Ballycumber. Himself and Mickey Joe came back to Ballycumber and then on to Lifford, but the reaction I got personally was unbelievable. Like, the thousands of people. Something I said, just so grateful, so grateful. Like, and it was just, we were kind of. You just couldn't believe, like, as the weeks went on, how big the show was getting. It was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it ended up, it was the biggest show. We were actually, at the time, the biggest stars.
Did you get a chance to take it all in?
Look, at the time, like, you try and be, I'm very, I'd hope I am a very humble kind of person anyway, but I enjoyed every second of it, Lloyd. I enjoyed every second. Never got too ahead of it. Never got too ahead of myself or anything like that, but enjoyed every second of it, absolutely.
So you reached the final in the end, yourself and Mickey Joe Hart, with a song written by Brian McFadden, no doubt, Better Plan. When you heard the song choices that yourself and Mickey got, were you happy with yours? Did you think it was made for you, or did you think, Mickey's one is faster?
Yeah. See, this is the thing. Like, we got down to the last 4. We were given 4 songs. So I had, obviously, Mickey Joe, there was my brilliant friend Michael Leonard, and Lisa Breslin, and the 4 of us were given 4 very, very different songs. I remember going into a room and hearing my song, A Better Plan. The first thing I heard was that, that's Westlife. Like I said, that's very Westlife. I said, all right, well, look, yeah, Jesus, I heard it again, yeah, that's nice. And then the 4 of us were brought into a room together, the 4 of us, and the 4 songs were played in a row. And I remember coming out of the room, we were chatting away, and I was like, hey, in the world, and I was there, Jesus, like,
you were hooked already.
I was hooked on the song, so obviously I think, look, at the end of the day, Mickey got a great song, he got a great pop song, he got a very instantaneous song, I suppose, so that was, look, as I said, I was happy with my song, it did very, very well for me afterwards, like, but his song was certainly the one that kind of caught the public,
Okay, we'll have a little listen to an audio memory from 2003, and maybe a little surprise at the end.
Plan, it's Simon Casey.
This is our future just begun. If we accept, believe, before the grief, and start it all again. But maybe we can find a better plan. I know that we can find a better plan.
Hi Simon, it's Mickey Joe, and this has been a real kind of pleasure to be asked to talk about you. Don't get too nervous, Simon. Promise those secrets that we, that happened during your time, they will stay with us, okay? And that's the end of it, all right? So the time that, you and the shower that we share together and stuff like that. Listen, don't worry, I won't let it out. Getting to know Simon, I suppose, through Eurostar, in all seriousness, was a pleasure. He was a consummate professional, more professional than I was at the time. He was very professional in how he approached the song, how he approached learning the song. So every week there would be a new song, and what would happen was that you would have to learn, and sort of you would get the song on a Monday, and you'd have to have it learned by the following weekend, and inside out and upside down, and he was always really good at that and really great at nailing all the notes and just his own delivery and his own twist on it. I suppose when you share something like that, the two of us being in the final, you share a life experience like that, you never forget one another. And I couldn't think of anybody better, to be honest, to have shared that with. He's a real gentleman, always has been. Long may it continue.
I know that we can
I tried to sing that note myself earlier on. I was hoarse for about 2 hours. So that was Mickey Joe.
What a like, you know, fairness. You know, people at the time after the show, you know, thought we hated each other. Like,
And that,
it's
but
just
that
amazing.
perception was put out there.
It was kind of like, and you know, but
like the papers made you out the next day because I remember reading them. Like, and I had your picture and I had Glum Loser underneath. I never forget that. Like, that perception was there. I mean, you know, I want an honest answer. When Ray Darcy said Mickey Joe Hart was the winner, what did you think? Did your heart sink?
I kind of, to be honest with you, I had an inkling anyway. I did have an inkling, you know, because kind of, you know, it's very hard to keep these things to yourself, like, you know, so there was a little bit of a rumour going around that we were just, you know, we're after falling a bit short, like, you know, so I kind of knew before the...
So were you disheartened even going on to that final then?
Yeah, well, no, because I tell you what happened, like, during the week of the final, I suppose, we were kind of... I was after signing a record deal with Universal, like, so I was kind of happy enough, to be honest. I was. I know, but well, look, you know, I'd be lying if it said it didn't matter, because I suppose if you get to one of them shows, you kind of want to go all the way, like, and just been pipped in the end was tough, like, you know. But definitely, I suppose from myself and Mickey Joe's point of view, like, we ended up in the Skylon together, you know, in the same hotel room for my 16 or 17 weeks. Like, we shared together from day one, and we ended up, like, so we still had the same room at the very end, the two of us, like, you know, so we became very, very good friends. I had great respect for Mickey, absolutely. It couldn't be further from the truth that we weren't best buddies, you know, so we were really, really close after it. And we did a gig actually last Christmas in Harvey's Point together, and we got up and through sang We Got the World and a bit of crack, you know, so it was... Look, great memories.
Was it hard to come down from that show after? I know you were very busy after, but the next Monday morning when you weren't meeting Phil Coulter and you weren't getting a song ready for next week, 16, 17 weeks in, you were so used to this now. This was like a... Yeah. Look, it was unbelievable at the time, Lloyd. It was kind of, I suppose, you know, what do you do? But at the end of the day, I suppose I'd recorded and said I just signed a record deal, and so the big thing at the time was to get the singles out there, get into the recording studio, and there was an awful lot of personal appearances and all this kind of stuff at the time as well. Like, and we'd put a tour together very, very quickly after the whole thing as well. So it was straight onto the tour bus nearly, you know. I suppose like anything at the strike while Aaron was hot as well. So you signed for Universal, 3 weeks at number one with Better Plan, platinum album, various other hits, plus guys like Gary Barlow ringing you up to write songs for you.
Yeah. Again, like, it's amazing. The music business is such a clique. It is, so, and it still is, like, you know, so it's a very, like, if you're in that circle, it's such a small circle, like, you know. So I remember my old manager, Ant O'Byrne, used to be, he was Westlife's tour manager. I'm very, very, very good friends with Shane File, and Shane said, look, I have a great song for Simon. And it was a song that he was after co-writing with Gary Barlow. At the time, Gary Barlow was after finishing up with Take That, but Gary was writing big songs for Blue and for Holly Valance and all these Delta Goodrum, all these big stars at the time. Like, so he turned into a songwriter more than an entertainer, you know. So, but I always remember the first night I went over to London to start recording my album. My producer brought me out for dinner. He said, I have a little surprise for you tonight. And met Gary Barlow was there. Marty Pellow was there. Two of my favourite singers of all time. Like,
I would have said Pellow. Even before you mentioned Marty Pellow would have been a huge...
Yeah, I love his voice, love everything about him. And so I had dinner with them two, and I looked across, and who was sitting across from us only? Elvis Costello. And I said, I won't. At the time, I just had a camera phone. The camera phones are just out. And the manager said, do not go over there. so no, I missed that. But no, I just kind of waved over and we kind of waved back, you know. And so that was kind of, we were actually in Notting Hill eating dinner that night and meeting all them people that I kind of looked up to all my life.
As time moved on then, and of course you were obviously signed to Universal, did you ever feel pressure at any time that, geez, I have to make this next single work? Or
yeah. I remember saying to me, A Better Plan had been such a big hit. I was thinking to myself, right, well, look, we need to follow this up with an album or whatever. And, you know, the pressure was on, like, you know, but we were lucky enough that the album went very, very well for me. The big thing was, like, at the time I would have signed a five album deal with Universal at the time. I ended up doing 2 of them albums. And then at the end of that second album, signed for another little while, did another couple of singles. And then we kind of, I won't say I got dropped from Universal. This is the truth. Like, I went into Dave Pennyfeather and we had a great chat. He was the MD of Universal at the time, and we kind of shook hands and said, you know what, we've probably taken this as far as we can take it at the moment, because I kind of had to try and get out of my deal as well in a way, because I was trying to get involved in a show that I couldn't be signed to a record deal, you know. So it was kind of like it worked for both of us, really, you know.
Were you happy with the albums you brought out back then? Was it your thing?
I think it was, yeah. Like the first album as I said, was a lot of songs that I would have sang on the show, like along with A Better Plan, you know. So that kind of sold that. The second time around, then we took our time about it, you know, because that was 2003. My second album, I think, came out 3 years later, like, you know. So it wasn't as if we were kind of jumping on the bandwagon anymore, you know. We kind of went away from it for a while, put a band on the road with yourself, yourself and Joe Egan and all the rest, and we put a new album together, and it was kind of more kind of, I won't say country oriented, but there was definitely a nice little country flavour to it, like, you know. And again, did very, very well for me, you know. So look, as I said, all these things are little stepping stones.
So Simon, you went back to your roots in a way. You did a musical then, Grease. But it was no ordinary musical. This was in the Point Depot.
Yeah, it was.
This wasn't in the Broken Hall.
I know, yeah. I know, look, again, what happened there was I got a call from Louis Walsh's office to see, they were looking for kind of a special guest to be Teen Angel in Dublin when I came to Dublin. And they asked me, he said, look, we want you, you know. So I had to go over, I went flying over to London, and I sang a song for them and said, you have the job. so I went, I think we did 10 weeks in the Point every night. A full Point every night for 10 weeks. And we did a matinee then at the weekends as well, you know. So it was another fantastic experience.
I remember myself and Joe Egan going up to that when he brought us backstage and everything. It was great.
It was, yeah. Oh, we'd some crack. And I remember, like, you know, just, it was great. Like, that's the thing as well, Lloyd, as well, with me. Like, no matter where I went, where there was any, like, you know, any of these after shows or anything, I always brought people with me, you know what I mean? A couple of lads from Ballycumber or yourself or whatever, you know what I mean? I always brought...
There's a lot of people in Ballycumber was in Lily Bordella's. They might never have seen Lily Bordella's during your star.
Oh, God, I remember the last, I think it's the night of the final, and of course, there's the bus load from Ballycumber trying to get into Lily Bordella's. And it's kind of it's very much a VIP, you know, absolutely, because... You know, obnoxious enough spot now, you know, to be honest. Wouldn't be my scene at all. But when we all ended up there, and all the Ballycumbers, a good few Ballycumbers at the door trying to get in, and remember Louis Walsh, Louis, let's in. Louis, come on, lads, get in. Let them in, they're from Ballycumber, let them in. They're Simon's Frick, let them in. The whole lot of them up to the VIP lounge, lads. And they loved Louis after nearly, you know, nearly brought him in the shoulders.
So go back a little bit then. Where does Mrs. Casey come into all this? Denise, where did you meet Simon?
Well, myself and Denise were actually in the same class together in national school. You know, obviously Denise from Lemonaghan, I'm from Boher, and we went to school together, low infants together. We had our communion together, confirmation together. And there's actually a photograph as well that's on my Facebook profile, but the two of us together when we were about 10, just stand beside each other. You know, I don't know how that picture came about, but we obviously there was something there even back then, like, you know. But I suppose it was back then. Roll on to 1999, the Ballycumber GA used to put on a holiday, and I remember nearly 150 of us heading out to
back in the good old days,
Gran Canaria. That's the best time I ever had in my life. And myself and Denise just got together on that holiday, you know.
Right, since then, so now you're
1999, yeah. So ever since then, like, and we got married then in 2007.
Three kids,
yeah.
Grace, Mella, and John.
Yeah. So it's been look, they're great. They're my life, you know.
And living in Ballycumber, where else?
Living in Ballycumber and loving every second of it.
Well, let's have a little listen to some of those people in your life.
I love my daddy because he encourages me to play the guitar and use my talent. I love my daddy because he's the best in the world, and he's really kind to everyone, and he's really good crack.
Hi Lloyd, I've known Simon all my life really, since I was 4 in junior infants. We're now 13 years married, and I think it's 21 years officially together. Oh, you could probably add a few on to that. He's still the same kind and humble person that he was even back in school years ago. He's never changed. We're very, very happy still, thank God, and feel very, very blessed.
I love my daddy because he's so nice to me, and he always encourages me so much, and he's the best daddy in the world.
Well, now, I thought I was the best daddy in the world. John, I'm very disappointed.
God. Thanks, Lloyd. That means an awful lot to me. Seriously, I had no idea.
No, anyone that comes on.
That is lovely. That is lovely. Really, really
it's nice to hear your kids speaking so highly of a great dad.
See, you know, I think it is the mother and parents and that, like, you have to be your kids' best friends, like, you know, and that's kind of what we are. You know, we're all best buddies, and we tell each other everything, and we have the crack, you know. So it's brilliant. Love it.
Let's go back to the music then for a minute, Simon. You have lots of studio albums to your name, and I would say lots of versatility and everything. You did country, went down that road. You can do, obviously, singing in the church and hymns and pop and rock and everything. Is versatility the key to staying out there?
You know what, I certainly think it is, because again, going back to the Universal days, when it came to an end, like, the end, they didn't really want me gigging. You know, they didn't want me doing anything. They wanted me just to record and do nothing, or just be kind of bring out something. Then, oh, here he is, you know, bang. You know, but I was more of kind of, you know, I wanted to be gigging. I wanted to be doing stuff. It was the church mice days, you know, I wanted to be gigging in the Dolphin. I wanted to be in the Cupshes. I wanted to be, you know, this is the thing. I wanted to be down and playing in Gavin's and the bar and the shop counter. That's what I wanted to be, you know. So I kind of, that was it. Complete another versatility. And I kind of, and in fairness, Lloyd, it's done pretty well for me over the years. Like, you know, it's stood me in good stead, I think, you know, that I'm able to turn my hand to a few different genres, you know. So,
of course, weddings is probably your main business now. Obviously, 2020 has been tough. How have you been coping through the whole COVID experience?
2020. Look, Lloyd, again, like 2020 can be, you know, seen as a positive enough thing as well. Like, you know, certainly, look, a positive thing from a family point of view, and, you know, from getting your breath back and all the rest. But that was grand. Maybe, you know, after a month or two, then you're kind of thinking, right, what is going to happen here? Like, you know, really, you know, you do start to worry about your family, about everything, you know, whether you're able to going to, you know, fend for them, or, you know yourself at the end of the day. Like, so I kind of said to myself, look, you can go one way or the other here. You can go and get depressed, or you can go and kind of try and look for a positive outlook. And that's when I kind of started just working on the album as well, you know, finishing off the album and all the rest. And it was just lovely to have something to show for 2020, you know.
Of course, a pandemic,
you know.
you brought out a brand new album, This Kind of Love.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's been, you know, the reaction has been fantastic, Lloyd, really, you know. So it's 2020, a lot of 2020 has been very, very negative, you know, trying to jumble brides and grooms, you know, trying to get the weddings, you know, moved for 21, 22, 23, like, you know, and we're absolutely just, we don't know what's happening next week, you know. That's the way it was, like, you know. So we're kind of, some couples have changed their wedding plans 3 or 4 times at this stage, you know. So you're trying to just keep up with everything, and then keep the show on the road as well at home.
I mentioned your versatility then. Your latest project, Celebration of the Eagles, with the Sheeran family band, Nigel Connell and Nigel Connell and Johnny Brady. Take It to the Limit. That's been a massive success, isn't it?
It has, Lloyd. You know, in fairness, like, you can kind of come up with ideas of shows and albums and this.
I'm always doing that.
Well, look, your podcast is doing pretty well. So, but you can spend hours and days and months and years trying to come up with something that might be successful. But when it just happens by chance, it's all the more sweeter. Like, you know, because we got together to do a show in Ballycumber, and it just worked. We walked out on that stage that night, and we walked off that stage, and we said, lads, we have to do something with this show, like, you know. So we put it together, and I think we put 4 dates together. Tullamore, the Court Hotel, sold out straight away. Shrewell up the north sold out straight away. Trim sold out. And we were like, lads, what's going on here, you know? So it was just incredible. Like, the 4 dates we put together just sold out straight away. Like, and we said, right, we need to develop this, like, you know. So, you know, it's been unbelievable. And actually, at the moment, I'm meant to be just home from Germany, you know. We're meant to do a 2-week tour out there, like, you know. So there's and that's hopefully something we might do next year or the year after, like, you know. But no, look, there's certainly, it has wings and it will fly hopefully someday, you know.
Of course, you did an open air gig as well this year, didn't you?
We did, yeah. It was our first, you know, it was grand because we hadn't gigged since March, and we kind of come up with the idea, let's do a drive-in concert, you know, and we did it in Kilbeggan. The rain came, I don't know where the rain came from, but it was just the worst night possible, but everybody had a great night. And we, you know, it was a sellout down there, and it was great.
Let's hear from one of those Take It to the Limit members, Nigel Connell.
I know Simon a very, very long time. I'm not sure if he knows me as long as I know him. Back in my days when I was drumming, I would have been in the Midlands area, based in Moat. I would have known Simon from Church Mice. He's a great singer. I was very fortunate then to get the job with the celebration of the Eagles music, Take It to the Limit, and with Johnny Brady. And I have to say, from day one, we hit it off. Yeah, so our friendship really, really took off, and then we decided to record a duet together, and it was a Liam Lawton song called There's a Place, and that's when our friendship really, really blossomed, and we worked together. And like every music performer for 2021, we're hoping that we can share the stage again and bring the houses down again. Happy Christmas anyway, buddy, and I hope to God all the listeners that's listening to this podcast will love you even more than they already do. God bless you, buddy. Take care. Thank you.
That's the great Nigel.
You know what, that lad is just a pure gem of a lad. You know,
what a singer himself.
He's on another planet. You know, he's just a great guy. And you know, we've a couple of plans to do other few bits and pieces. You know, even away from the Eagles. You know, so but look, you know, any night you go out on the stage with them, you know, take it to the limit. You're kind of working with the best. You're working with the Sheerans, Johnny Brady and Nigel, and it's just, I think one of the reasons why it works so well, Lloyd, is because there's no egos. No egos, sorry, I didn't say eagles. No egos in that band, you know what I mean? Everybody's just, we know what we can bring to the table, and it just works, and we all get on great with each other. Everything's a split. There's no, you know, he's getting more than me or this. We are completely and utterly, and it really, really works well, you know. So.
Talk to me, Simon, about your Spotify figures before you actually get to that. Like, gone are the days when we used to travel down to Wexford and everything, and we'd be scanning CDs. No, we didn't. Signing CDs. But, so it's Spotify now, and it's YouTube and Facebook and that. And must hand it to you, you're great at all that sort of stuff, in fairness. So Spotify, what? Tell me about your figures there.
I just say, like, back in the day when you're signed to a record label, you think this is the be-all and end-all, that this has to work. And at the time, it kind of did have to work, because you weren't going to get any plays on radio unless you kind of had a big record label pushing you, you know, you weren't going to get on the Late Late Show, you weren't going to be on Open House, you weren't going to be here and there. But the way things have happened over the last 10 years with social media, everything has changed, Lloyd, within the business. And that's why all the big record companies are gone now, you know, they're all gone. And you're kind of left to fend for yourself, and it kind of works well for an awful lot of people, you know, that you can put something out there and see if it works, and then maybe develop that, you know. And that's what I've been doing, like, you know, stuff that I think works. I throw a lot of stuff out there, and if I think something is working a bit better than others, I kind of develop on that idea, you know. So, and then as you said, like, you know, a lot of people are kind of, you know, giving off about Spotify and giving off about streaming this and other. And again, you know, I can see their point. Like, I think for every stream, like, you know, it's worth kind of like 0.002 of a cent or something, like, you know, which is not worth a damn really. But I suppose if you get enough of them, you know, so.
Well, it's either one of these things you have to embrace and get something, or don't do it and get nothing.
Don't do it and don't do nothing and just give out about it for the rest of your life, because this is where it's at. Everything is streamed. Like, you kind of just have to jump on board with Spotify, and that's what I've done. And, you know, I've been very, very lucky. I've kind of become friends with a few kind of big enough kind of curators and this and the other, and they put me on lists. And, you know, this year, just last week actually, the 2020 artist rap was just announced, and 2.6 million streams, you know, which is crazy for me, like, you know, because last year I think I had 500,000 or 600,000, which is great as well. But
if you sold 2.6 million albums,
exactly,
you'd be number one for about 2 years.
you would, yeah. So look, again, it's just something that you just have to either go for it or don't go for it. You know what I mean?
Simon, when were you happiest in your career?
You know what? The moments that I knew that this is it for me, right, it was actually Sort of Duke gig. Right, it was the second year we came back. So we would have done Mustang Sally back when we were in fifth year. We came back back in sixth year then. When me and you were in sixth year, we came back and we did it all again. But this time we were Sort of Duke. Like, I remember singing I think we sang Mustang Sally again, maybe just for the crack. But I remember singing Don't Look Back in Anger. I remember the whole star singing back to us, and I was thinking to myself, this is just, how could I say? I had to breathe it in, and that was the moment for me, like, you know. But I suppose, you know, so that was when I knew this is what I want to do, like, you know. That was definitely the moment when I knew. So in sixth year, in that school concert, that's when I knew I wanted to do this. And then I suppose the biggest gig I'd done then, that was probably 2003, when I did the closing of the Special Olympics in Croke Park. And I remember Jamie Lee Curtis and Colin Farrell. The two of them introduced me onto the stage, like, and I was like, is this really happening? Like, you know, and I walked out there, and all the nations, you know, all the Olympians were there, and it was just the most incredible, the love in that place that night. You know, all them special people there, all them special athletes, and all these, you know, grade A, you know, Hollywood stars, all there. Like, Schwarzenegger was there, Bon Jovi was there, all these people was there. And it was an incredible moment, Lloyd. It was really, really was. The love in Croke Park that night was just something that if you could just bottle it, you could live on it for the rest of your life, you know.
Because you had a song recently called Love Me, released a few years ago, actually. And the video of that song is very special too. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's filmed in Gussie's in Ballycumber. Who else do we have in that video, Simon?
Well, look, you have yourself. In fairness, you're sitting beside me there on percussion with my brother Terence, Paul Skelton, who's been a great friend of mine. Your dad is in it as well, Paddy, my dad. And then I suppose the most special person, like obviously Denise, and Denise's mum was there as well. But my own mum, Teresa, is sitting beside me in that as well, you know. And that's a very, very special video, because obviously it's kind of 2 years to the day the mammy's got very ill, and she's fighting a very, very hard fight at the moment, So just to have that is a lovely kind of keepsake,
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the Casey family as a whole had some tough times in the last few years with your mum.
Yeah.
How as a family did you deal with all that?
We it's just shown great unity, Lloyd. The bond we have as a family is just, it's incredible. It really is incredible. And my dad is just a great man. He's so proud of him, because it can't be easy. The love of his life is now in Clara, in Esker, in the nursing home there. And in fairness, like 2 years, my whole life has changed. My whole life has changed in the last 2 years. Things will never be the same. After that event 2 years ago, and I said, Mummy's just a very, very strong woman. Like, how she's still here, we just don't know, but she's still fighting, and so proud of her, love her to bits,
It must be very difficult, obviously, with COVID situation and visiting your mum and dad.
Yeah.
That must have been tough this year.
That has been very, very tough. Like, I haven't hugged my mum since March, which is very, very, and I know there's lots of people in the same situation, but for me, because I am a mammy's boy at the end of the day, like, we always had a huge, I know Terence said it earlier, but myself and my mum, we just got on great. She encouraged me. Everything I ever did, she encouraged me, and not to be able to hold her, hug her, has been really, really tough, so just hoping maybe, who knows, if we can get some kind of lift in the whole thing, we might be able to get into her again, but at the moment it has been very, very difficult, window, up to the window and saying hello to her, and it's just very hard, Lloyd.
Yeah. Well, I can only imagine, and I know this and a lot of people don't, but like, you were in with your mum every day. Yeah.
I know. Look, I went into, I would go into my mum every day when I could. Before lockdown, I was in there, and you go in for at dinner time and make sure she's getting the drinks and the food and all the rest. And and in fairness, like the staff in Eskeree, they have to be commended. Like, they're incredible people. They're a different breed of people. They're a different breed of person. For a person to work somewhere like that and give the love that they give to all the, I won't say patients, but all the residents, it's incredible, Lloyd. She's in very, very good hands there, but it's just nice. I used to love just getting in there every day and having my hour with her, and, talking to her, and maybe singing a few songs to her, and letting her hear about music, and bringing back the memories, because it's amazing how bad her memory is, but if you start singing a bit of a song, she'll kind of sing along with you, So it's
I
nice.
wish your mum well.
Thanks, Lloyd. Thanks very much.
She's a lovely woman.
Yeah.
And, I remember she giving out, actually. I think I made you sing a Guns N' Roses song in the Millhouse years ago.
I remember.
You're not allowed to sing.
I know. I remember. I think I sang Nirvana.
She was right.
I think it's Teen Spirit, and I came home the next morning. I got up. I was down for breakfast, and I said, "I was gonna get the cornflakes, man." You can't be fucking singing that. So I know, look, yeah, she'd much prefer me singing the kind of the Les Mis songs or whatever, like, but no, that's where it was. And no, look, I said very, very, like, unbelievable support to me. And for a lad that wanted to, I suppose, drop out of college twice, to pursue my music career, and she was way behind me with that as well, like, because I don't know if I did it, like, as a parent, like, so I have to commend her for that, and my dad as well, of course.
Of course, another special person in your life, you did a song with, Teresa Flynn.
Yeah. So look, it's very tough, Lloyd, because these are people that you kind of, as a child growing up, I always, and I know Teresa was involved in the Clara Tops as well, and like, what an amazing singer, like, what an amazing singer. And I remember, we used to have the sessions in Flynn's years ago, and the guitar would come out at 1 or 2 in the morning, and we'd be there until 5, singing away. And when Teresa got ill that time, it was shocking. It was just to see her deterioration, But I know Joe and Loyola were amazing supports to her at the time, and they encouraged her to finish that album. And she finished that album, and the minute she had that album finished, she just unfortunately passed away. Like, so it was incredible. Like, but a very, very strong woman, but an amazing talent. And we, I got to do a couple of duets with her as well. So she was, look, you could talk about Mary Black or Dolores Kane or any of these, or Dolores O'Riordan or any of these, but Teresa Flynn had it all, or better.
She's a special person, and very supportive in Tops of the Town to everybody, as mentioned by John Lowe a couple of weeks ago. Simon, people often ask me, what genre is Simon Casey? I always say you're every genre, because you can sing anything.
Yeah, see, this is the thing.
But how would you describe your?
I would say I kind of, I suppose, a country balladeer maybe, but I see the thing about it is, Lloyd, like my favourite singer would be Jim McCann, from the Dubliners, and he had a sweet voice, like, Grace, Meet Me at the Pillar, all these lovely songs, like, and they are my favourite songs, like, so it's very hard. Like, I love the country music, but I also love the Irish ballads, so I try and cross over between the two, like,
Okay, Simon, we're going to do a quick fire round.
Oh, Lloyd.
Oh yeah, okay. If you're listening to the podcast now, you know what this is. So, Simon Casey, are you ready for the quick fire round?
I am, Lloyd.
Quick as you like. Here we go. First thing you'd buy if you won the lotto?
Ferrari.
What actor would play you in a movie?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Favourite Irish singer or band?
Jim McCann.
Favourite song to perform?
Grace.
One gig you'd like to go back and relive again?
Assorted Youth, sixth year.
Most famous person you ever had a pint with?
Colin Farrell.
Most famous phone number in your phone right now?
Paul McGrath.
Ballycumber winning a county final, or are you having a worldwide number one song?
Have to be the worldwide number one song.
You're after being banned.
I know, God.
If you could duet with anyone, who would it be?
Christy Dignam.
Lastly is our £1 million question from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, sponsored by Staunchface, of course. So Nigel Monaghan, get the checkbook out if Simon gets this one right. Oberon is the satellite of which planet? Mercury, Neptune, Uranus, or Mars?
I would say it is. I have no idea, Lloyd, first of all. I'm going to go with Neptune.
You're going to go with Neptune. And is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Well, you're wrong. It's C, Uranus.
Oh, no, don't be like that.
Any regrets in the 40 odd years?
No, I couldn't say there is. Like, people say, do you regret being a musician now, after the last few months, like, because you're sitting home and everyone else is working, but like, we've had the best of times, and them good times will come back, like,
Okay, well, any advice then for musicians coming up, young musicians?
Be yourself, because it's there's an awful lot of artists out there at the moment that are trying to be someone else, trying to sound like someone else. Just keep your own sound and believe in yourself. Like, work hard. Big thing is to work hard and don't turn down the gig. Briefly,
your new album, This Kind of Love, is out now. Where can we find it, Simon?
Well, it's in Tracks in Tullamore. It's in Gussie's in Ballycumber, and it's in Gillivan's Meat Counter in Moat.
Oh, no, so this is a strange. So we're going from Spotify now to Gillivan's and Moat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, the thing about it is, at the moment, Lloyd, as you know, with lockdown, there's not too many record stores open, like, so I had to kind of put it out there locally anyway, and the reaction has been unbelievable. But if people want to buy the album, the best thing to do was just send me a message on my Facebook page, Simon Casey Music, and I'll get back to them straight away. And as I said, it's on iTunes and Spotify and all the online platforms,
Yeah, and there's a brand new version of A Better Plan on that, isn't there, as well?
There is, because I said, like, at the time, there's no... it's not online anywhere, it's not on Spotify, and a lot of people were asking, like, where can we get it? People trying to, I suppose, think about the past or whatever, like, And so I said we'd do a kind of a version. So myself and Danny Sheeran went into the studio and we did a 2020 version, and it sounded really, like, I'm delighted with it, At the end of the day, that song has been very, very good to me, so it's nice to have it on the new album.
And on that note, Simon Casey, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it.
Listen, thanks so much for having me, because I really, really enjoyed the whole thing, and I really wish you the very best, and let's hope your podcast goes from strength to strength, because it's what's needed, So thanks, best of luck with you as well.
I'm going to let you pick one of your songs to finish out the podcast, and you can also introduce it, Simon.
Yeah, we'll finish off with the title track of the album is This Kind of Love, because it's a song that I wrote with my wife Denise and with my kids. We were sitting out in the barbecue area over the lockdown, and we said we'd bring out the guitar and we kind of put a couple of lines to it. So it's kind of a family fest, if you know what I mean. So we'll finish off with that one. And listen, thanks once again.
And Grace, Mel and John, I hope you get the royalties now.
Oh, they are. Oh, yeah, look. Daddy, look after that, lads.
Simon Casey.
Thanks, Lloyd. Thanks very much.
This kind of love is making me feel I'm on top of the world, I'm on fire. This kind of love is burning so real. Hear your love, it's a lifting me higher. I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive. Cause it's love, cause it's love, cause it's love. This kind of love This kind of love, this kind of love. This kind of love, you're all that I need. Next to you, I will be here forever. This kind of love, you're making me breathe. Take my hand, hey, let's do this together. I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive. 'Cause it's love, 'cause it's love, 'cause it's love. This kind of love, this kind of love, this kind of love is making me feel. This kind of love is burning so real. This kind of love, this kind of love.
Here at Stodgeface, we take our baking seriously. And we're not talking about the penny to banana bread type baking. We're talking American style original recipe, hard to come by donut frying, cupcake styling baking. And we have done our research. Try it for yourself, we insist. Open weekdays from 10 a.m. and weekends from 12 p.m. We only close when the shelves have been emptied. We are currently located in Irishtown, Athlone, and our new Tullamore-based venture is coming soon, so watch this space. We are people-friendly, dog-friendly, and COVID-friendly. We are Stodgeface.
You just listened to What's the Story with Lloyd Bracken. Check out all our social channels for info on new episodes. Oh, and thanks for listening. On the Town.